back 1,000 years, to the far north, on the longest night of the year. The sun hasn't risen in weeks. It won't rise tomorrow either. There is only darkness and cold. A cold so deep it doesn't feel like weather anymore. It feels like something hunting you. Down the fjord, the wind comes howling. And it does not just chill the skin. It bites. It burns. It searches for any gap in your clothing, like it wants you dead. And the sea, the mighty gray sea these people crossed to raid whole kingdoms, has fallen silent, frozen, turned to stone along the shore. Out here, on a night like this, the cold does not give warnings. A grown man caught outside would not last until dawn. No furnace, no electricity, no warm air breathing through the walls. Nothing between the living and the dark, but the choices they made with their own hands. And yet, behind one heavy wooden door, an entire family lies fast asleep. Warm, safe, breathing slow and easy while the world outside turns to ice. How? How is that even possible? The answer is not a bonfire, and it is not brute strength. It is hidden in the way their home was built. A design so quietly brilliant, it held death at the threshold and would not let it in. To understand how clever their home really was, you first have to understand what it was up against. Because the Scandinavian winter was not simply harsh, it was a hunter. It moved without sound, patient and endless, wrapping the land in a darkness that stretched on for months and burying every hill and field under snow that seemed to have no end. There were no rescues out here, no help coming over the horizon. There was only the silence, and in that silence, the cold waited for a single mistake. And here is the cruel trap almost no one thinks about. The double-edged blade every family slept beside each night. Let the fire die in the dark, and the cold would slip in and take them in their sleep, quietly, without ever waking them. But keep a fire burning inside a sealed home to stay warm, and the smoke could just as easily kill them, filling their lungs in the night, stealing their breath while they dreamed. That was the impossible line they walked. Since the beginning of time, the only real answer humans had ever found for deadly cold was fire. And yet here, that very fire was both their savior and their executioner. Warmth and death sharing the same flame. So someone had to master it. Someone had to keep that fire alive through the longest nights without ever letting it turn against them. And in most homes, that someone was the woman of the house, the husfreyja, keeper of the keys and keeper of the flame. Because the truth is, these families did not survive by luck. They survived by design, a design sharpened over hundreds of winters and paid for in lives. So step with me through that heavy door and let your eyes adjust to the dim, smoky glow inside. What you're standing in is called a Longhouse, a longhouse, a single great hall stretching long and narrow into the shadows, sometimes the length of half a football field, and running straight down the center of it, like a spine of living fire, is the Langold, a long trench lined with stone, filled with burning wood, glowing from one end of the hall to the other. This was everything. There was no other source of heat, no other light, no other place to cook. This one long fire did it all. And notice how the whole home is arranged around it, because that arrangement is the first piece of genius. Close to the flames is the bright zone, the hot zone, where the work happens, where meals are cooked, where tools are mended, where the day's tasks unfold in the light. But move back from the fire, toward the two long walls, and you enter the quiet zone, dimmer, softer. And this is where they slept. Along both of those walls run raised platforms called the palur, wide benches of wood and packed earth lifted up off the floor. And here is why sleeping against the wall was no accident. smells and drafts creep along the ground, so lifting the beds up kept them out of that river of cold, while the long fire in the center threw its radiant heat outward, warming those platforms from across the room all night long. Then came the final layer, the one closest to the skin. The benches were piled deep with furs and thick sheepskins, soft insulation that trapped a sleeper's own body heat and held it close until morning. Fire in the center, beds against the walls, furs on top. A simple, beautiful system for surviving the night. And yet, on the very coldest nights, when the sea turned to stone and the darkness felt endless, a fire and a pile of furs still weren't quite enough. For that, the Vikings leaned on two more sources of warmth, two invisible heaters hiding in plain sight. And this is the moment it all comes together, because the real secret was never one clever trick. It was an entire system, every piece working with the others, quietly, all night long. Remember those two invisible heaters? Here is the first. Look at the walls themselves. In many homes, they were built thick and packed with turf, with straw, with earth and sand. A heavy layer wrapped all the way around the house like a giant blanket, holding the warmth in and shutting the wind out. The home didn't just make heat, it refused to let heat leave. And then there was the second heater, the one that might surprise you most of all. At one end of the longhouse, behind a low partition, lived the animals, the cattle, the horses, brought inside for the winter. And every one of those large, living bodies gave off a steady, gentle warmth, breathing heat into the shared air through the coldest hours, so that the family and the herd survived the darkness together. But none of it would have mattered if that central fire had choked them in their sleep. And this is the final piece of genius. High in the roof was an opening called the Liori, a smoke hole that let the rising smoke escape into the night. And rather than let the fire blaze and burn out, they banked it, smothering the embers just enough to keep them glowing low and slow until dawn. Warmth without a roaring flame, heat without the smoke that kills. That was not luck. That was a skill, learned and passed down over lifetimes. And around that carefully tended fire, something deeper happened. It became the heart of the home, the glowing center where the family gathered close, shared their food, and told the old stories that carried their memory forward. To keep that fire alive was to keep the family itself alive. And maybe that is the quiet lesson hidden inside these old walls of turf and timber. We tend to imagine the Vikings as conquerors, raiders, who took what they wanted by force. But when it came to the thing that mattered most, simply surviving the winter, they did not win by force at all. They did not fight the cold, and they never tried to defeat it. They studied it, they listened to it, and instead of battling the long dark, they built a home that could live inside it. A shelter of stone and turf and fur that seemed almost to breathe, holding warmth the way cupped hands hold a flame against the wind. Because the deepest truth of that longhouse was never really about the fire at all. The warmth that carried them through those endless nights did not come from the size of the flames. It came from the walls drawn close, the bodies gathered near, the family and even the animals pressed together against the dark, each one lending a little heat to keep the others alive until morning. 1,000 years later, the stones have gone cold and the fires long burned out. But that lesson still glows, because in the end, warmth was never something they found out in the world. It was something they built together with their own hands. And perhaps that is still the warmest thing any of us will ever make.